I've got some shocking information about David Eason returning to the swamp after that quote unquote break in attempt that went down maybe like a month and a half ago. According to the US Sun, chronically unemployed David Eason, who is currently facing felony child abusc charges for allegedly strangling Jace Evans, was allowed back into the home that he's not supposed to be in because of these charges and the subsequent restraining order that came thereafter. But because somebody allegedly tried to break into the home, he's now allowed in there. And he was allowed back in there under the pretense that he was going to, quote unquote, protect the family moving forward after that alleged break-in attempt. And and look, I'm trying to do my quotation marks, but it's not working. Break-in attempt. And I'm putting that in quotation marks because, in my opinion, it wasn't a real break-in attempt. It was just somebody who was mistaken by the home or something like that. Like, we saw the video, Jenelle released the video, and it just seemed like someone who was drunk and looking for somebody. Like, I didn't get it, but I digress. So anyway, this is what Jenelle's manager is saying. So this is not speculation or anything like that. Jenelle's actual manager, managing what? I'm not sure. How is he being paid? I'm not even sure if he is being paid. He released a statement to the US Sun. He said, and I quote, "During the very traumatic experience Jenelle and Jason endured during the break-in, the police allowed for David to come home to protect his family." The idea that a man who has been accused of strangling a child being allowed to come back within inches of this child under the guise that he would protect this child that he allegedly strangled is just so ass backwards to me. Like, who's to say that somebody who is aware of these laws, right, and who is a bad person who did this sort of thing wouldn't stage a fake break-in just so he would be allowed in to finish the job? Do you know what I mean? Like, this is just such a dangerous loophole, absolutely ridiculous. So according to Jenelle's manager, the subsequent days that followed where David moved back into the home, those were make or break moments for him to make his relationship with Jenelle work. But unfortunately, and I quote, "During those few days together, Jenelle expressed to me that David had said a few things that caused her to make her final decision and submit the documents for separation." So basically, as usual, Jenelle is okay with this man allegedly strangling her child, but maybe he told her that her hair looked a little greasy that day, or he didn't catch enough roadkill for dinner. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. This woman truly is absolutely amazing. August said, "The ball was on his court, and unfortunately, he didn't take the time while being together during this moment to ease her suffering or worry. This is what ultimately led to the legal separation." And according to August, Jenelle also told him categorically that David did not abusc Jace. Otherwise, it would have ended sooner than the no contact order the courts placed on David due to the child AB allegations, which again, sis, is this even believable? Absolutely not. It's not. It's not. You know what I wish? I really wish that the cops charged Jenelle as well for being there, being party witness to this alleged attack and doing nothing, and then going on this campaign to smear her child's name and then now denying it all. Like, I really think that she is an accessory to all of this, and I don't like that she has been able to get away with this. And by the way, why is her manager talking about all of this? It's not making her look good at all, but I digress. More chismosa. Let's see. August also said things may or may not have been able to be smoothed over, but David stops communicating with Jenelle for a couple of days while on the boat. Me and Jenelle were actually really worried about David considering the situation. We had no idea where he was. She was actually happy he was okay, and we were all relieved seeing him at a bar via social media. So no, the bar was not really an issue for her. And then when it comes to Marissa being kicked out of the house on her way to school super cruelly, the manager said in regards to her, there was never really any ill will or negative intentions on Jenelle's part, no malicious undertone whatsoever. Marissa had already not been coming home for weeks and weeks, and she had already been staying at her friend's house. The room was uninhabited. Nobody was sleeping in it. Jace had just arrived home, and the arrangement of Jason Kaiser sharing a room wasn't working out. So Jenelle kindly asked Marissa if it was okay if Jace could sleep in her room while David fixed the upstairs bedrooms, and she can get her room back after David got home and he fixed the upstairs. That didn't end up working out, and her manager says that the tabloids painted a picture that Jenelle was kicking Marissa out and tried to portray her as the evil stepmother. Listen, I don't believe anything other than the fact that David was allowed to come back to the home. I don't believe what Jenelle told her manager, which is that David did not put a hand on Jace. Don't believe that. And I also don't believe their rendition of what went down with Marissa. Also, I gotta wonder, is it not like a red flag? Like, I don't know. I find the idea that like a child, a high school age child, an underage child, a minor, would be able to just consistently be sleeping at like random friends' homes for weeks on end. Like, would that not, I feel like if that were like in my case, you know what I mean? If I had a kid and they had a friend who had to like sleep at my place all the time, I would be concerned. I would be calling for a welfare check on their household. I feel like there's something really deep going on there when a child just doesn't want to come home and their supposed parents are perfectly fine with that. Like, your child hasn't been coming home for weeks. Your child is in school. Like, you're not helping out with homework. You don't know anything that's going on in school. Like, I'm sorry, but the feds need to check you out. The cops need to check you out because this is just really weird. This is very, very neglectful. So I do find that, to be rather troubling that Marissa was able to be away for weeks at a time during school. And she and David had like no cares, no qualms about it. Like, very neglectful. Very, very. And I think that the parents of the kids that she's staying with, they should probably call that in because that's really weird. Now you're putting everything on them. So they're the ones who have to transport her to and from school. They're the ones who have to like pack her school lunches or buy her school lunches and stuff. And like, like how in school you've got these spirit weeks, pajama days, this, that, and the other. Don't you have parent teacher interviews? Like, don't you have, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many activities. Are they signing Marissa up for like extracurriculars and then that's coming out of their pockets? Like, there's just so many things where you're like, you know what? I feel like CPS should be called in this sort of an instance. I have heard many stories of people like having to, stay with like their friends in childhood and stuff like that because their homes were rather neglectful. And I've always wondered what the kind of logistics of that were like. Like, so were the other parents kind of like, okay, well, we'll take this child on and then we're not going to involve authorities because we feel like the authorities would pull this child out of our place and then put them somewhere random. You know what I mean? And then that would cause more issues. How does that work? Are any of you guys in that kind of situation where like, your child has brought home a child who comes from kind of like a neglectful background. And so now this child is basically a foster or an adopted child for your family? How does that work? I am rather fascinated. I do find it to be very sad for children like Marissa. I don't think it's normal that the parents would not care for so long. It seems like weeks. How many weeks? 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, 2 months? Like, yikes. This interview makes Jenelle look terrible. I'm sorry. And then the whole lying. David did not do anything to Jace. Then why are there charges? Why were there alleged marks on him? Why did those charges get upgraded from misdemeanor to felony? Like, you were so nuts and delusional. Like, I really feel bad for Jace and any kid involved with either of these people. Life's so unfair, seriously. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about all of this in the comment section down below. And as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.